Yo, 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 yo. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Hi.
Oh, what up?
We're live and we're in stereo.
My bad. Unpopular Opinions, episode
oh.
number 41.
Whoa! Whoa!
What?
Q. What it do?
What? I can speak when I'm ready.
I've never. Whoa! I know. I'm just saying. Jeez. See, always gotta get all
Why
serious.
so freaking extra?
Why you so extra? I want you to be extra. I'm sorry. We got a
Special guest in the building.
Whoa! I'm playing a lotto today, honey. Is it the shoes?
Delo, introduce yourself.
Hey!
'Cause I don't know how. I don't know.
What's going on? Yo. What's happening, y'all?
What up, man?
I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Appreciate you for finally bringing your ass here.
I know, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Should have been hectic, but
Yeah, man. You're a busy guy. You are a busy guy.
I'm trying to stay busy.
I'm
man.
still waiting on a text from you from 2015. You still ain't respond to it.
Be like that sometimes.
That's crazy.
Man. This nigga will tell you anything.
4 years ago? Oh, really?
I mean, let you tell it, man.
I'm not going to get into too many of our many stories and stuff like that.
You will.
Lord of the motherfucking CoCos. Lord of the CoCos. You had a cape on, too, right?
I had a cape on, man.
Yeah, you did. For the listeners, Delorean Briggs, yes, the Delorean from Back to the Future.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. We attended the same college together.
That's a fact.
Shout out to SUNY Purchase.
Facts.
Home of Wesley Snipes.
Talk about it.
Ving Rhames. Scarlett Johansson spend the semester. I think.
Speak on it, King.
Zoe Kravitz.
That's a fact. I was her RA.
I met her at the what's that? Tia. It's the little shop by Fort Awesome. You know what I'm talking about? Tarave. Yeah, I was close. Yeah. I seen her there.
She was fire.
I just said excuse me.
She's fire, man.
Yeah,
she's super dope. I like her a lot.
Oh, I wasn't done. Nina Sky.
Ah, that's a fact. All those are the homies.
Yes.
Those legit are the homies, man. Nina Sky, man. Like I saw them DJ a set maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Twin kissed me on my cheek at Rhythm and Rim when I was 19. That's when they was popping. Mace.
Yo, Mace. Shout out to Mace,
All these fun
man.
folks went to SUNY Purchase?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mace, man.
I don't know all the people that went to my school.
Oh, shout out to Susan Sarandon's son. He went there for a couple weeks.
Shout out to Susan Sarandon.
Shout out to Susan Sarandon. She's
fire. Yeah.
She's fire. I would say a friend of the show, but no, she's not.
We don't know her.
But her son was tall. I remember he came into one of our practices one time. He was like 7 feet tall.
She's just a really, really good person, man.
Yes, she is.
I met her at my brother had a birthday party at a spot, Spin, New York, and on like 23rd Street. Mm-hmm. Super fire, man. She's just a super good person.
Why? What makes you say so? Rather.
Yeah, she was like, honestly, like when we got to her spot, we didn't even know she was in there. But randomly, there's like a dance battle broke out, and we were in there like dancing and kicking and all that. And then she came over, and she was just like hugging us and like shaking our hands, like, "Yo, come, let's hang out and let's like drink and sit and chill." And she was just mad cool, just like, you know what I mean, like a regular person in like, you know, small and regular environments.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is that's Purchase, and
real shit.
Like now doing this, like this podcast shit. All the things that I do, I like, you know, whatever, like, it's because of Purchase. Like, Purchase kind of, like, brought that out of me. Like, I was always, you know, always had, like, you know, sense of humor. Some people like to think so. I always like to do funny shit, whatever. But it was just, I did it, like, in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
Purchase
you think
kind
the
of like
school created the environment for you guys to be able to do that?
Most definitely, because that's what the school was known for, is an artsy school, performing arts school.
Got it. Of like arts and communications.
And it, you know, it also allowed me to like break out fully. You know, when I got there, I was like the vice president of a club. Shout out to Megan Lyric.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Rhyme Book. She was the president. I was the vice president.
I remember that.
I remember. We did Converge.
We did do Converge. We did 6 Converges.
Yeah. So tell us about Converge. How did that come to be? Real quick.
Well, what was Converge?
So Converge was it was like a sketch comedy.
Maybe not in the mic.
It was like a sketch comedy show that we had put together. That was like, it consisted of like dramatic performances, comedy sketches that we wrote, dances, somebody will come and perform, rap, sing, whatever the case may be. But we did all of that it was surrounding stereotypes about men. So we would do like stereotypes about black men in the fall, and then we would do stereotypes about men in the spring. And we did like 6 of those shows. It was actually really, really dope.
Funny shit is, there was one, and I think I recently told a good friend of mine about it, who didn't go to school with us, about this particular skit. So this dude in front of me to my left said, yo, I got the perfect skit for you. So, Q, real quick, what would you think would be the perfect skit for me?
I don't know, something basketball or old man related.
You would think old man related. Shit.
I mean, we did have some of those too.
No. So the perfect skit, and this was Homeboy wanted me to play like a dude on the down low.
I mean, stretch your creativity.
It was funny.
Stretch your creativity. Thank you.
They were trying to make.
Thank
they
you.
were trying to say, they had high hopes for you.
We was trying to listen, man. We was trying to show your range.
Exactly.
You know
And
what I
the
mean?
funny thing is, SUNY Purchase was also known for having a lot of homosexuals and things like that, which was cool.
I was about to say,
Loved
what's
it.
wrong with that?
There's nothing.
Nah,
It was-
hi-
I just didn't want that to be put out there, like McCray on
You
the
don't want to be
basketball team.
identified as being.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
Does it
I'm
make
not.
You, and
I didn't want nobody blowing kisses at me when I'm going to class. Like, hey, saw
do
you.
you feel the same way about like any other characteristic being pinned on you? Like if somebody were to call you like a cheater, an adulterer, or something.
Yeah, I would feel some type of way, especially if it's not true.
You remember when, like before this conversation, when I was talking about homosexual culture,
What?
like homophobic culture?
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about that?
What we gonna talk about?
But we don't. You see,
I mean,
small
I think
instances like this we don't recognize.
Now here's the thing. Now that it's funny you say that, because that was part of the reason that we actually was doing that skit in the first place. You know what I'm
because
saying?
y'all thought that he had
Nah.
you guys were concerned about his behavior.
No. Honestly, I think like I think honestly we were just trying to like figure out like ways to address certain subjects, especially when we talk about like uncomfortable relationships with black men and the homosexual community. You know what I'm saying?
And this is no way, no shape or form. I want anyone thinking I have, have anything against anyone who's.
You're not anti.
I'm not anti-homosexuality. I love it. I embrace it.
Tell him to show it, people. Ask him to show it.
What? Anyway.
We know that you're not.
I know, but
I'm just saying, like, as a man who proclaims to be aware, you could do better and do more.
And rightfully,
Hashtag just saying.
and rightfully so. However, that was when I was young. I was really young and
Much younger.
Anyway,
Much younger.
Anyway, the skit was it was extremely funny. It was one of those skits that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I felt bad for my boy Phillips. He was under the table for like a good hour, because that was like one of the first skits. So we thought that it made sense for the person who was going to be there just stay under there. So he was like, "Yo, we about to start." I'm like, "Yeah, we about to start, man." Knowing damn well we not about to start. And then second
Started like a half.
started like a half hour, 45 minutes, and he was under there, poor thing.
And it was like three.
Messed up.
There were like three skits before his skit. So we started half an hour late, and then there were 3 skits after that, which maybe was like I want to say roughly like 50 minutes. He was underneath the table.
Yeah.
But it was like it was like perfect. Like the comedic timing was just like on point, and he was willing to do it. So it was perfect. Man.
I'll never forget. Shout out to my guy Mo. He was sitting front row, and then when Homeboy came out from under the table, he was like, "Hey, yo, don't dap me up no more." And it was funny. The crowd went crazy. I was just like, nah. But yeah, shout out.
That was good.
Shout out to you, man, for doing that, for putting that together. Converge, man.
Yeah,
that was
man.
dope. Bro.
I mean, I think like to that like putting that whole thing together. It started off with actually another friend of ours, Dion. He was the one that
Huggy Bear. DJ Huggy Bear, what up?
DJ
man?
Huggy Bear, you stupid. But he was a part of the crew that had originally started that. But I don't think they had I don't think they could foresee it going as far as it went when we had started doing it. Yeah. Once we picked it up, man, it like I mean the first show was maybe like 50, 60 people. The second show was like 150 people.
Oh wow.
Yo.
You know what I mean?
And to do that and be
That's
part of
real.
that, 3 years we did it together, like that show. It was like the second show everybody talks about.
Second show
because we touched on everything, like
insecurities with men specifically, like around like being able to confront feelings and how to like express yourself effectively.
Yeah. Yo.
What? You guys y'all were having these conversations?
Yeah.
And you were still
At that
Wow, really, Q?
At that time.
At that time.
I think
would you guys consider like doing something like that again, particularly in this environment where we recognize that like our leadership shows something different, or our leadership continues to perpetuate like this?
I mean,
patriarchal, like this.
Things like that should be put out there, but I mean, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm working on something right now that I think would be a catalyst for like something a little bit better. But I think like you have to have something like that exists. I think every time something a time in history happens where like there's a bunch of like fuck shit going on, there's something that comes out of that, like that grows out of that, like that really not only highlights it but breaks the mold in it, and then you start developing new ideas and new feelings, new emotions, and then people start thinking differently. You know what I mean? I think there has to be something that happens that addresses it head on first. Yeah.
They say the most influential art follows like some of the most like depressing political and social times. So
They wasn't lying.
Yeah. I definitely would I do something like that again? Absolutely. I mean, even with the people that were doing it at the time, I would love to like pick up with them and start writing some shit.
That'd be dope, man. It was definitely a dope time.
It would definitely be something that would be widely accepted. It makes me think about the Janelle Monáe article that you wanted to.
Yes, we're definitely gonna talk about that too. But anybody, real quick, friends of the show, if you have footage on Converge, if you went to SUNY Purchase, please send it to my email, Unpopular Opinions.
I don't think I want to see it.
At unpopularopinions092@gmail.com. Thank you.
There was a CD, man. There was a CD. There was a DVD. There was a DVD. There was a DVD of one of the shows. It was the one that we did with when we did like the whole barbershop theme.
Yeah.
That was like one of the biggest shows. We had
that one too.
We had like 200 people come out to that one.
Yeah. I remember that. That was the only show that I was kind of nervous about. All the other shows I was good, but that one because it was just like.
Why, and was it about the content or just about the amount of
No,
people?
because I knew the word spread. Like it was like when I say it was like
big at the time.
Yeah, people were like, it was dope. Like everybody was talking about it on campus, and it was just one of those things in colleges. It's like dope. Yeah. The fact that college kids actually have that content and the presence in mind to put something of that magnitude together.
That's cool.
So.
That's pretty cool.
I think we didn't even expect it.
Nah, I think that's why it kind of fell. Like it kind of fell short after a while because we didn't expect it to go on for that long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like we did. I think after the 5th show, I mean at this point, like you were getting ready to graduate.
Yeah, I was about to get out of there.
I was going into my junior year, and I was like messing up all sorts of. Like all my GPA was fucked up at the time, so I was just like, yo, you know what, man? Let me focus on this. Yeah. But like thinking about it now, like the show could have been so much bigger, especially if we had done it, like moved it to a new venue and like all of those things, man.
I remember we talked about that. I'm like, yo, we should take this on the road.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's still possible. Nothing's like cut short. We can
absolutely. But
something fun to also examine is like the plight of. Something also that would be fun to examine would be like the plight of the black student in college during our times, because I felt like it's funny to hear you talk about GPA. My bad. It's funny to hear you talk about GPA and stuff like that, because I think about like the struggle of having to be a part of a whole ton of different student organizations and shit like that and try and maintain your GPA. And I wonder if the experience was the same across like, I don't know, cultures.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt it.
Well, it was a thought. I just threw it out there.
I think the black experience in college is super, super unique, and I don't think that anybody else is like experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's funny. Real quick, I remember when I first arrived at Purchase, and everybody was like, "Yo, you need to come to the Black Student Union." It was alright. Nah, it was. It was not. I mean, I say that in the best way possible, like because I've never been prior to my you know, in my academic career, when I went to Herkimer, we didn't have a black student union like that. We just, you know, so to have, you know, and you know, I only seen that shit in the movies. So to see that shit and be in it, like that shit was dope.
What
Like
was the representation of black folks at Herkimer?
It wasn't high. It was really low. Like we were waiting for y'all to start it. We were. I mean, you gotta think when you're at a JUCO, it's a 2-year school. You don't really consider like putting everything into your 2-year experience, I guess. But it was just, it was a thought. But yeah, it was just dope to see that, you know. So shout out to I forgot their name. Shout out to anybody who started it. Opia. Yeah, shout out to Opia.
Whoever Opia be.
Yeah.
What up, y'all?
What up?
We got RAINE and Reef in the building.
$2.
Yeah.
$2.
Reef back from DR.
You owe me $1.
Nah,
you know,
I had the game. I said I wasn't gonna
2 weeks ago.
wasn't coming.
Well, what you mean? But you then it comes back because you late. Yeah, so $1.50.
No, $1. What you talking about? $1.50. What math you doing?
$1.50, and you owe me I know you got some white Henny from DR.
That shit is dirt. I don't fuck with that shit.
I don't think I want that shit.
Yeah. Even if you know it's good, like I don't really.
You go get checked out.
White Henny was checked out for what?
You would. Well, no, that's Matic drink. You touched out.
A little bit.
Speaking of DR, today the Dominican Day Parade is on. Like it's happening today.
Oh shit, word.
That's all I got.
The concourse is like on lock.
I'm Dominican now too. I should have knew that. Man. I should have known. My bad. Better don't I, man. Woo! Lit. I'm Dominican.
So, what up, y'all?
Shit.
Special guest Delo in the building.
That's good, bro.
What's up?
We was just talking about old times at our alma mater, SUNY Purchase.
That's dope.
How was the game, Rain?
OMG. I had no business on that. Go ahead.
Oh, wait. You played?
Yes, I was.
See, I ain't know that's what was going down.
Cypher, don't get gas.
Yeah, I felt like I have not been on a basketball court since I don't know when, and yeah, so
it was
interesting.
Somebody put up a post on Facebook. It was just today. Shout out to Jason. He said, "Yo, I'm playing ball today. I'm going foul line to foul line. That's all I got."
He had more than me.
Bro, what?
There was a little girl though that she had game, yo. She had way more game than me.
Did you guard up? Did you play
she was on my team, luckily.
Oh, okay.
So
Did
yeah.
you
Did
score?
your team win?
I
Yeah.
did score.
What? Yeah.
I don't think they were trying to win because we were up by like 6. I'm like, are they like, what are y'all doing?
Serious game?
They weren't. We lost. There was a couple of young Harlem Globetrotters there too.
That's what's up.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Did you like shoot about basket?
No, they told me to shoot, but I was acting like such a girly girl out there. I'm like, this is so whack of me because I'm not like this. Like, I was acting scared of the ball. I was acting scared of the ball. I was not at all. I felt like a foreigner out there. I'm like, OMG, what am I doing out here?
You needed to get on the court before.
Like we said, I should have
practicing or something.
Right, because even running up and down, and then I definitely didn't have the right sneakers on to be playing basketball. Got these stupid shits on, and I'm like,
damn.
This is not good, yo. So I kind of just was like walking up and down the court, like, let's go, guys. I did not shoot. I was acting scared of the ball, like. Don't pass it to me.
I'm thinking you're going to come back like, yeah, man, I killed him. I had a triple-double.
I used to, one thing, I never had an inside game, but I can always shoot.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and I can always dribble. Even my dribble was ass. I was like, what am I doing out here? Like, don't pass me the ball. You want to sub me out? Let's sub out. Maybe we can do that.
Monstars took your skills? What happened?
They took them.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that.
I felt like a non-athlete.
Damn.
It feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, 20 years out, like, no, you gotta, like, so it made me know that I have to, like, get back active, because that's one thing. I was never, like, a crazy athlete, but I was always athletic, though. I played every sport as a tomboy, so. Now being out there, I'm like, damn, I can't even run over there. I'm like, yeah, I commend basketball players, because that shit is not easy.
I quit as a kid. I remember that. What is the equivalent of field day? Whatever. It's field day here, but in the Caribbean we call it something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's and what they put me to run like the 100-meter race. Why would they put me to do any type of running?
We don't do that
I'm
on
not
field
running
day.
either.
We don't do 100-meter races on field day.
100 meters. That's
Whatever the heck it was. I know.
You sure
like
that
I
wasn't
started
like
running,
Olympics?
and I like stopped and sat on the bleachers. I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me.
That was not for me.
So
man.
I get it. And even playing
And I
softball,
played
feel
everything
like I was
in
forced
college.
to
I
do
played
that shit.
touch football. Like I played everything. We had like because in Philly, it's a Big Six. It's a college town basically. So 6 major colleges, and they took it seriously. Like we used to get our ass beat by the white girls from like other schools because they was really like I played. I felt like I feel like an ass out here. Like what am I doing out here? Word. Gotta get back to it.
Damn. So Reef, good to see you. Glad you back, man.
Yeah. You know, I'm back.
Because you know the day, I feel like the day right before you left, the 16th person was reported.
Oh, you made it back.
Yo,
like-
or I mean,
I was
shit,
like,
yo.
should I send that shit in the chat? Nice.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little bit. It's something going on, but it's not really as overblown as everybody making it. Like everybody was good while we was there, so fuck it.
Funny thing is, man, you was out there, right? I'm chilling with my son Bryce on the couch, and then like I see your story. I'm like, homeboy got the do-rag and the hat on, looking like somebody uncle. Out in
Son,
DR.
mad people
With
call
the
me
shades
out on
on.
that, bro. Like I ain't
What?
think that I ain't think having a do-rag and a hat on was that bad. Like I was on my way to the airport. Like what? That's airport attire for me. If I'm in the airport, I got on a do-rag and a hat. Like I'm, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I felt bad though, cause mad people was calling me out like, yo, you a hood legend. I'm like, damn, son, I look like that, son. Like, yeah, like,
It was a
no,
throwback.
like I felt mad bad. Like, damn, son, I look that bad
Obsolete.
with it. It's all good, man. Listen,
Right, that was funny.
I
That,
had to make sure she was right.
but yeah, man, shout out to you for making it back safe, man.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to DR, man. It's beautiful out there. Don't let none of that bullshit they talking about, deter you. I don't know, some shit going on. Then I seen some shit that's happening in Costa Rica. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's all
you
over.
know, you just gotta watch what you doing.
And be on point.
Everybody was good where we was at. Nothing happened while we was there, and like the shit is beautiful. So I'm definitely going back.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. There's a lot of shit that happened within this week. But I wanted to start off with, because I wanted to actually talk about it last week. Janelle Monáe's comments about canceling sex. So I remember I put this post up, and a lot of people was like, how you can't cancel something that both parties enjoy, which is true. But I don't think she meant it in that way. I think it was just taken a bit out of context. But she actually went back on it and said that she didn't mean it like that entirely. It just meant like people or men need to think about, women or take them more seriously. I think pretty much in jest what she was saying.
I think she trying to chuck it off for herself.
Really?
Yo, secret, covert tactics to try to circumvent. I know what that shit's about, man.
Carnegie.
I'm not stupid, man. I was born that night. I wasn't born last night. Yeah, don't say so. You can keep it all to yourself. I know.
Really?
Hell yeah, really.
I don't think
That-
it
This is how we diminish the value of what she's saying. Hashtag just saying.
What
was.
did she
You set yourself up. You did.
I don't know what was gonna
What was
come from it.
What was the
shit.
exact comment?
So,
Did she
I'll
say
read the
Exactly.
quote.
We need the
Oh,
exact.
yeah.
From your people have to start respecting the vagina until every man is fighting for our rights. We should consider stopping having sex. I love men, but evil men, I will not tolerate that. You don't deserve to be in my presence. If you're going to own this world and this is how you're going to rule this world, I'm not going to contribute anymore until you change it. We have to realize our power and our magic, because I'm all about black girl magic. Even though I'm standing with all women this year, but this year, I'm so carefree. I'm so carefree, black girl. I get what she's saying,
Wasn't that
but I don't
like,
think it's anything different from like things that we've set up here.
wasn't there like a movie based on that premise?
Yeah, Chirac.
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 Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Based
shit,
on-
word.
what was it based
The
on?
premise of like withholding sex until like men who like was perceived to have like dominance and influence took set and like helped change it.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh God, there's an outrage because men feel threatened.
yeah. I mean, it was just crazy. Initially, it's a shock value of the comment, and a lot of people. It was just funny to hear other people's statements.
You think that's hurting us more than y'all? Like, shit. I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that was like I was joking about it, but like, do you think that that's more of a punishment on us or y'all? Like,
I mean, they make
I don't
toys
think-
for females
like-
nowadays. They ain't making shit for y'all, for real.
I mean,
Shit.
we don't need
They making them
toys.
blow up dolls.
We're born with our
I would never
That's
listen.
close.
Listen.
Those human
Listen.
blow up
Yeah.
dolls.
And then half of
The day I invest $1 in masturbation, look, as soon as pornography got to the internet, and you had to stop buying bootleg DVDs and all that. That was the last day I ever contributed $1 towards masturbation. I'm not buying no fucking blow up or whatever. I'm not. Come on, man.
But
Listen.
if it were
Shout out
really
to
to happen as
X-Videos.
a movement, like
Pornhub.
women would need to be smart about it and cancel porn for y'all. Like block that
Women
shit.
don't
You
have
would
the
to
power
pay
to cancel.
subscription for that shit.
What?
mean,
You think? I mean, I
mean,
love
yes, they
women.
would.
How?
Yes, they could. If they were to be strategic about this, if they really wanted to make a movement about this, call me to operationalize that shit.
But
'cause
it's
I can make
already
that shit
done.
Nah.
It's already
I can tell you
done.
that
All
much.
If porn is done, that means the internet is done. That means anarchy in the streets. That means motherfuckers is going wild in the streets. The shit is going crazy because like the number one thing on the internet is pornography. So if that shit stops, that means there's no internet, and then shit is gonna be wild. We
And
got
so
bigger
then hopefully
problems.
the world would be changed.
I mean,
Let's
shit.
hope that
We
the
have a
world
lot
would
bigger
then
problems
change,
than that.
right?
That shit ain't.
Let's hope that that's what happened as a result.
It's gonna be a lot of disgruntled men going to work the next day.
Listen, I'm saying like with whole sex, like I ain't that serious. I'm good. If we gonna do this to make something better, it's not that big of a deal. I'm down. I'm good though. Like it might be worse on you than it is on me. Like but shit, let's try it. Let's see who gonna give it first.
Stay off the weed. Stay off the weed.
No, okay, so let me ask you guys a legit question. Like, what are you hearing people say? What are you hearing her say with the statement? Like, what did you hear her say
I mean, for me, I didn't have no
with me
problem
reading
with
that?
it. I didn't have no legitimate problem with it. It was just, I didn't know if you were serious about your comment.
Nah,
when
you know I'm
put it.
playing.
I ain't know.
Oh, what did Reef say?
He said he trying to say for herself.
Yeah.
Oh, you posted that?
Yeah. I mean,
You were trifling.
I mean, you just gotta suspect somebody who I think has that angle suggesting this. Like, yeah, you got ulterior motives.
But that is legit
You got
how
ulterior
you,
motives,
how
bruh.
you diminish
I don't
the value of
trust
what is
you.
being said.
Nah,
What?
I'm sorry,
That's
my
fucked
bad. I take everything
Bro, what
as
are
a
you
joke.
talking about, man?
I questioned. I was sus immediately. Like, nah, I don't trust you, bro.
Bro,
I'm
I'm out,
coming
man.
sure.
That nigga's tripping.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting concept, man. I think I don't know that I don't know that it necessarily works. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I guess it would have to be something you see that actually happen before to see if it works. But I don't know that withholding sex is like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's worked before.
Married women do it all the time.
has it? I mean,
Rosa sat on the bus, right?
Wait, what?
What?
What do you mean, what?
That's withholding sex.
So, God.
All
I
her,
forget
no,
who
no.
I'm talking to
Wait.
sometimes.
You said
Let me
gross
break it
side of the
down.
bus. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
said Rosa
so I'm
sat on
speaking
the
about
bus.
I'm speaking about the idea of resistance.
Oh.
I apologize. I didn't think I had to like pin it, like peg it to a trend. I thought we were all able to infer here. Read between the
Come
lines.
on. By the,
I need to?
sidebar.
Should
Guys,
I?
she is on 10. She intro.
You haven't got no whiskey.
No,
What's
she
up?
intro
Because
today.
I went to brunch before.
Yo, she's on 10.
I
man.
went out today.
I don't know.
She introduced the
Man,
episode.
I'm sorry. Do I need it to help us infer
Yes.
like the idea of like resistance or
Well-
using like resistance or a form of resistance
Yeah,
or a
she
form of
helping
like
out.
withholding?
You're helping our listeners. So yeah.
Nah, I needed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed the
Yeah.
correlation.
Are we all together?
No,
Can I move
explain.
on?
We want you to
Weekend,
explain.
I'm on.
So the concept, so the reason why I compared, because the reason why it was that we were able to have a conversation about like why it didn't make sense for black people to sit on the back of the bus is because like Rosa sat where she wanted to, right? She disrupted an idea,
Okay.
right? So this idea that Janelle Monáe is saying, let's disrupt this concept of like of allowing men to have power and let's take away their power by withholding sex because we all know that sex is like powerful.
Yes.
So it's another form of like resistance.
Okay.
Are we together?
We are together.
But
Can I move along?
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know that.
Yo.
I don't know. It seems this specific situation seems gender specific, where like Rosa Parks is like trying to fight against
Black,
know,
race specific, skin color specific.
That's a huge difference.
Same thing. I mean,
Nah, it's like a huge difference. And it's
what,
like
what do you like to say,
monetary,
Rain?
like,
Same devil, different levels, right?
I
I
don't
saw you
know,
go.
like
Yeah.
monetary.
Let's get Q some water.
I'm drinking some.
My bad.
Nah, it's all good. But
I mean, sex is powerful. Like, well, vagina is power. Like, I would say that if you did go about it and you're like, yo, you know what? Let's withhold sex from men and let's see what happens. I mean, like Reef said, I'm down to see if it works. But it's like I don't know that's like that is the only course by which you remove power from men. I think there's so much more to the situation than just sex. It would have to be more than that. It would have to be more than that to work.
Of course, like it has
The
to
more
go
I
with
think
like,
about it, though, I don't know that was well thought out on her part.
oh, come on, Rain.
I'm trying to rock with it, but like even
Come
based
on,
on
Be
Rain.
wrong. She
No,
could
even
be
based on
wrong.
I
what
mean,
he
but
said,
it doesn't
I mean,
necessarily have to be wrong.
But even based on what he just said, like it's not just to me. Like I'm as a woman, I'm like, all right, how would that really work?
Like,
So
what are you
okay, so it's
disrupting?
no-
all
it's
women
no
are just
movement.
not having sex.
So
Like,
it's
what
no-
are you disrupting? Like,
it's
the Rosa
no-
Parks bus shit, they losing money by us not participating in that. But, like, what is the...
It's asking men to
like
take
that?
to stop and pay attention to the issues that women are speaking about. It's saying like, oh, like this is pissing you off. So if it is that you want like us to rethink this
No,
idea,
I get the
like,
idea of it. I'm just saying, like, is
we
it
need you to send-
feasible? Like, I don't see women. I don't know how that would be effective.
but I feel like that's no different from saying that like you can't get black people to be united, right? I feel like if
No,
anyone
'cause
feels
effective-
as strongly about something,
Effective is the key word, right?
Well-
because I'm saying like, if we all women, let's just say nationwide, not
Mhm.
even the world, just the whole entire United States, every woman just decided to not have sex. That could be powerful.
Mhm.
If men then would be, I don't, in my mind, it's not clicking that it would happen and that men would be, like men, that would mean that, in my mind, I would just see that, oh, a bunch of men like saying, oh, my girl or my wife is not giving me sex.
Mhm.
Like where it becomes a complaint. But I feel
So-
like it's not going to ever happen. I don't know.
But I
It's
feel
not
like-
clicking.
But I feel like that's not any different from any of the other movements, right? That may not be as well thought out, right? Oftentimes we think about like the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter movement where we're not often clear about what the demands are. And I think what you guys are saying is that like it's lacking effectiveness because like it can't it can't exist just by itself naturally, right? Everything has to come with a set of demands. So like of course it would have to be thought out, but the idea in itself could be very, very powerful because sex is something that is powerful and that is something that men, like if men are who we're saying that we need to have attention from to like to have a different perspective on the world and or to get people like to get whomever is empowered to think about the issues that are affecting women, then that is something that could be powerful naturally if it is that it comes with a set of demands, if it comes with a set of timelines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No one movement has ever been like super effective and efficient because there's no one person who's been super, super thoughtful and thinking about all of the things that it would take in order to get one to adhere, right? But I think something like everything is worth trying for
Agreed.
the lack of.
Agreed.
Mm.
I do think you need men on your side in that particular argument. You know what I mean? Which will be interesting to
I
see.
feel
'cause
like,
it's
I mean, for
Well,
real,
no,
for
I mean,
real.
that's my point. See, when he says it, it makes sense. So, men on your side, I'm saying that men wouldn't be on our side until we got them to understand that this, like, I'm saying that her saying that is basically trying to get men on our side.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? Based on what you said. So, that's why it's like such a hump, in my opinion, because that's the whole idea, right? The whole idea is to try to get men as a whole to understand. Like the same way where I didn't read the book, but just the title alone is profound. And I think that men should pick it up because I saw a really dope dude promote it, right? And he was reading it with his daughter, actually, right? And the title is that every man should be a feminist. And I also heard that in
I just see that.
in Tierra Whack's in one of her rhymes, she says it too. Men should be feminists, and it's so crazy. I wish I could find the show that I did like 2 years ago where we focused on feminism, right? And just talking to different women, because I'm like, well, not to go off on a tangent, but I don't really subscribe necessarily to feminism. Like I always say, I subscribe to womanism. I'm just saying, feminism on the surface is just girl power. If most men understood that, which some men do, a lot of men don't. Most men don't. Right, but if men just understood that on the surface, it's not all these other things. Like it's not on the surface. It's just girl power, and it's necessary because we live in a world that is controlled by men. That's really just the basic premise. So I'm saying that she's saying that for us to stop having sex, for them to even get to that point. And I'm saying
But
that
I think it's a coercive way of doing it. But I think what she's saying is that like we essentially need to stop asking and begging people for things and withhold things that we like that one knows is like, come on, man.
But I think it should be something else other than sex.
Fuck that.
You hurt yourself more than you hurt anybody
Actually,
else.
I
doing
don't
that
think
dumb
so.
shit. I think so. Honestly, for real.
Well, for some women, not all.
Shit.
But I will say,
I think it's 50-50.
I mean, I will say big ups to her for actually putting that out there and just having the gumption to say such a thing. I mean, it evokes conversation.
The
and so-
gumption.
I mean, most people
Really?
don't see it until it happens, and then when you see it, and it's like, oh shit, that's what you meant. You know what I mean?
It could work.
You know what I got to say? You got to affect the bottom line, man. Rosa Parks, they stopped going to the buses. They wasn't getting money no more. So that created change. The only money that's withholding is sex workers, and sex workers ain't never stopping holding it. So all y'all gonna do is make more money if y'all really start withholding
know,
sex
in the
workers.
long
Y'all gonna be
run,
more
though,
sick.
if men who
Super
are
up.
in, if men married or not, if they're girls or whoever, if all women really did just stop having sex, that would pose an overall issue. It would be stress. It's a lot of things that go into that because I'm just thinking like that. The most successful men, like sex is required, is what I'm trying to say. Like, so you need a muse, you need some type of release, you need some kind of balance. It would get to that point. You thinking you can just not have sex for the rest of your life?
How long will this happen? How long
Hell
will this be?
no.
Until
Yeah, is what I'm
change.
saying. What I'm saying is it's going to be harder
How long
for
is it gonna
you
take for men
to
to get
prolong it
together?
than it will be for me. Ultimately, like,
How? You think so? I think
Hell
men
yeah.
men are on it way more than women.
Sex.
I tend to agree.
men want to have sex with more partners. Women want to have sex
No,
more
just
times.
needing it more.
I think women want to have sex all the time, every day.
I don't think that's.
That's not true.
Not
I don't know if that's.
necessarily.
I don't know if that's still. I don't know if that's still a thing. Like where is it the idea that is like the at its very very like surface level? That's what men are like. I guess like motivated by.
What do you mean? Oh, I believe that is the assumption.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the assumption with like most of the world. Yeah.
But on the surface, I mean, you guys, you wouldn't agree that not necessarily yourself, but that some of your friends, most of your friends, men that you know, are not motivated by sex.
If it was that, like, if the
I mean,
world
like
came,
in your
if the
relationship
world,
with your girl.
Yeah,
Can
you
you
know,
have
break
sex,
that down?
period.
Motivated.
But
Meaning,
like-
like, if you see an attractive woman, you want to have sex.
Oh, absolutely.
Off rip.
This
It's
is
not
not
like I
even.
wanna
This
get
is
to know
not
you,
debatable.
but then it wasn't
what I'm saying
allowed.
is-
But then,
So
but
why
then
don't
it
you
wasn't
get the
allowed.
concept of
Y'all would hurt. You'd be like, all right.
So
like, what rules you want to change, ma'am?
so you talking about universally? Like nobody's getting
Yeah.
none nowhere.
Right.
Oh,
Like your girls
she's
go home
saying
like
we
that?
gotta
like
withhold.
on some is like on some
Everybody,
is
That's
illegal.
why I
like-
keep saying married men, single men, whatever. Like
Yep.
men with girls, men, whatever.
Make it work.
If I'm thinking more, it would be more effective on
so
married
you
men.
think y'all
Yeah.
can hold out longer than we can hold out?
I think married
I
couples
think
should be
she's
excluded.
saying that
Yep.
married. I think she's saying that men need to understand what the issue is, and this is a way that women can do it. I'm not saying that. I don't think that. I'm not knocking it, but it doesn't seem effective. Rip.
Forgive
I
me.
think y'all were giving
I
first.
feel like from the moment that we had the conversation around self-control a couple of episodes ago, like the same thing that we speak about, like the idea of like why it is that men are so susceptible to cheating on their spouses, right? Women have more self-control than men. Like women
I
just
agree.
have more self-control. So like
So
for you
why
to
you
even
keep
pose
saying-
that argument, I don't know why you would
If
even
you
go
agree,
there.
Reef, then why are you saying that we? That
So yeah,
we need more
it
than
could
you?
like
I
it
don't.
work.
I don't
Yes.
agree with that.
What you mean, darling?
What?
I don't agree with that.
Come on,
You don't
man.
think what?
'Cause
You
I-
don't
Y'all-
think what? That we
y'all
have more
making shit
self-control.
up.
I don't agree with that. Women have more self control than men. I don't
Oh.
agree with that. I think
Again,
it's about-
again,
I mean, it's
I think it's a
something
I
big
say
equal.
like-
men want
Yeah.
more partners. Women want more times. Like a woman wants to have sex with the person that they with 10 times a day. A dude's not really on it like that. Like you're not trying to have sex with your girl 10 times a day. Like it's like yo, you know what I'm saying? Now if it was 10 different chicks, she'll be like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
it's
if
not
I'm
like
really-
for
Well,
real,
you
for
gotta
real.
talk
It's
to
real
the guy
shit.
that wants
It's
to get
real
married
shit,
and have his
though.
wife live in San Diego.
I just tell the
while he
truth,
lives in
man.
New York.
I just
Like,
tell
I
the
mean,
truth.
I think women definitely have more self control than men. I do think that it can be offensive to look at it like men are motivated, even at its most base level. I think it can be offensive to say that men are motivated by sex. I don't think
Not only by.
yeah, not only by sex, but even like I think
Primarily, you don't think so?
primarily no.
So
I don't
what
think
got?
so.
So you tell me, what's over sex for guys?
Success.
Oh well, no. So she's saying motivated by sex with regards to women, not necessarily success. I mean, not necessarily in general in life.
In terms
Meaning,
of like, what
when
is
you
that thing
see
you're
a
gonna
woman,
withhold?
you're motivated.
Oh yeah.
Like you're motivated to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Not that you're motivated by sex. That is offensive.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I think it's in regards to women.
Mm.
You know, well, yeah, you're right. So a lot of times, men are motivated by success because they also know that gets them more women.
Yeah.
That's-
Sex and money, the
that's
two
what I'm
most
saying.
Right.
powerful
I
It's
agree
things.
with
those
that.
are that's the I think that's that combination. It's like, all right, cool. What do you get in return for the success that you have?
Yeah, so essentially
It's
saying
these
it's
things, these list of things that you get. But I think like,
nuanced.
but if we're talking about like when you first meet a woman, if off bat there's attraction or they're like you're attracted to off rip, of course. I mean, there might be a sexual feeling or nature that you feel like when you see them, but I don't know that it always immediately goes to sex.
No, not necessarily, and I think for the sake of thinking about like what it is that she's referring to,
Yeah.
like I don't think that that's what she's saying. I felt like what she was saying is that like women, if it is that you have even husbands and or spouses at home and things of this nature, if it is that like they're not advocating for or speaking up, and I'm only speaking
well,
like
alright, cool.
then like
Gotcha.
this is something that this is a way to like get them to listen.
Is she heterosexual?
I hear you.
No.
Does it matter?
Why I can't ask a question?
I'm just
not.
asking if it matters.
She's not. But
So now when I say that I don't completely trust
But
that
why
this
are
is
you
100%
devaluing-
genuine,
Why are you devaluing the? Like,
I'm not devaluing it. I'm just saying I don't
then
necessarily
normally,
trust
I don't
you.
like when people do that, but in this case, he has a right to bring up her sexuality because
Oh,
if,
snap.
if you're posing it to men and you don't have sex with men,
but
You're
this
not
is-
saying, yo,
but this is
withhold
under-
sex
but this is
period until the
assuming-
world
this
gets
is assuming
right.
that
Like,
this is assuming that like homosexual people don't have like heterosexual sex. That's also a faulty opinion to have as well, because there's a lot of homosexual people that engage in heterosexual sex. Not because she chooses a spouse to be with, like as a woman, don't mean that they don't engage with like another man. So like
Which is
none of
weird.
that really.
That's
so
bisexual.
people could do that
Yeah,
exactly,
that's
but
weird to me.
she's never defined her sexuality. We just
No,
know
that's
that
why I was
there's an
asking.
attraction.
I
I
thought
was
she
just
did.
asking.
No, she
Yeah,
came
I was
out
I
asking.
don't think
and
that she
said
ever did.
She's
We-
involved with
Isn't
women.
We know that
with
she's
that
involved
shit?
with
I don't
women,
know.
but I
I
don't
don't
know
know
that she's
exactly
ever
what it was.
excluded her involvement
That's
with
dope.
men.
I love that. I'm not against that at all. That's super dope. 1,000% my heart. I was just
The
asking a
rumor is that
question.
her and Tessa Thompson are an item.
That
If I'm not
was she has a new boo.
Oh, see, we'll be moving on mad fast. I can't keep up.
The chick, the African chick.
Who?
From,
Oh,
I'm about to say
Lupita?
no, not Lupita. From Wakanda. I was about to say.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about though. Wait,
The little sister?
No, the big sister. No, not the sister. The warrior.
the warrior. I know exactly who you're talking about.
The ball. She's super cool. She's
Yeah.
gorgeous too. Drop
Oh,
that
beautiful
gorgeous.
as hell.
So, I mean, I guess to segue from that topic, did you guys check out the Nas DrinkChamps interview? I know
I did.
We talked about that real quick earlier before you guys got here. What's your thoughts on it, Rain? What was your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial. I'm gonna give my thoughts on it based on the reactions I'm seeing about it. Right. So a lot of people didn't like it. They felt
interview?
like the
People who didn't
interview.
live in the Bronx.
I might exactly no, not because people live in the Bronx, but a lot of people.
We
who
don't
did-
like those people.
A lot of people didn't like
Fuck
it
those
because
people.
they felt that Nori didn't really press him. But every interview is not supposed to be like a.
Did press him for
Yeah.
what though?
Yeah,
Like,
press.
That's
what-
his
what-
man.
What,
Like,
about,
they-
like asking
Like
about
they were saying
police
he
and
was
shit?
fanboying. No, not even
That's
just
what I'm
about
saying, like,
Matt.
what-
Nas has a lot of history.
He was
that he's
giving,
never spoken on.
He was
So,
giving him flowers.
Like what?
Asking
though?
him about, he definitely gave him his flowers. So
Giving him his
he didn't ask him about AZ. He didn't ask him about Cormega.
Niggas
Stuff
is
like
not
that.
gonna do that to their men though. Like for you to expect
Exactly.
for Nas to go on a Nori show and for that to happen, you bugging. Why would you even?
Well,
think
because
that?
Drink Champs normally gets the guts of like the history, right? Because
yeah,
Nori,
you right.
Nori has the history.
You right.
So people were complaining about that. I didn't have. I mean, that could have happened, but
They kind of went into it with him, with Nas. They kind of danced, but they danced around it a
they
little
did.
bit.
And Nas respond. I mean, and I give Nori credit because Nori he did kind of ask certain questions, and Nas was being very PC, and Nori even said it. Oh, that's the Obama answer, because he kept giving like answers that were like so like, you know, PC. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I like he still dropped jewels. I think one of the you would have liked. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I watched it.
You saw what he said about they asked him about someone he didn't work with. He mentioned Prince.
Yeah, that's why.
But that was dope though, because he said Prince basically said to him like, "Do you own your masters?" Oh well, can't do business. That's fire. You don't know how fire that is, because I'm learning more and more about the game and everything. And just, I mean, we all know just about ownership, but the way that Prince went out with his and how because sometimes it's so many thoughts that come from this, right? Because then blackballing comes out, you know, they address that, and I'm glad that they addressed it, because as someone that is like in a game as well and just kind of like learning the game. So it's not to say that blackballing doesn't exist, but I like Nas's answer, just basically, because that's the truth. That's how I feel.
What did he say?
He basically said, you know, like blackballing, like it's not real, but it is. But it's not real. It's only real if you're not built for the game. Like, you got to be strong. You know what I mean? Because there will be people. We know that though. Whatever
people
you're doing,
gonna
right?
Pick sides. It's
People
always
are
gonna be like that.
Yeah, don't rock with him. Don't rock with her. You know what I mean? Like, if they got more power, you have to have the power to break through, and not necessarily, and then learn that you can. Because sometimes, as I'm doing it, work, you know, in the game myself, I know that when you know that you're the one who's moving something, like, and you're the platform, and you don't care. That's just obstacles. That's what essentially is what he was saying. But at the same time, I started thinking, like, it's as a business, as an entrepreneur, and you see business, you kind of you always want to like align your brand with bigger brands. That's always the thing, right? Because like that's the check. But at the same time, when you learn more about Prince and just certain people that were fully like self-contained and still made, you know, a certain amount of money and still generated, you know, a big enough platform to compete, even if you are silenced, even if you went out silently, but you still got an $80 million check. It makes you think sometimes that you can't do that without that alignment. You know what I mean? But you can. Even though it's like it's a hard fight. That's all I'm saying. So I'm saying that those kind of jewels came out in the whole back and forth. I think the Prince jewel was a dope one, and just certain things he said. Nas is just not like he doesn't like to do interviews, yo. You can just tell. A lot of artists don't. And that's why I always break about media training and stuff. Because Nas was certain points was like kind of like not awkward, but he seemed like uncomfortable at times, right?
It seemed like it's not something he do often.
That's something he does, and this is probably why I'm doing this, because this is my man. And we also just gave him a check because Master Pill gave him a check.
And also he's promoting, you know, pretty much him doing is promoting lost tapes. So
that's what it did too. So someone put me on to it. Kind of made DrinkChamps now a stop for media runs. Like, so if an artist is doing now, because before it wasn't set up like that. It was more like,
I think if you didn't go on DrinkChamps, you was just stupid. Like, if you had something coming out, I would be on.
If y'all could tell me.
Nori's
so that's the Noriega
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
And like, if it is that you can say, like, what type of stamp do you feel as though they put on people's shit?
I mean, it's Nori, so like.
Well, see, that's the other thing. That's why I'm glad you brought that up. So the flip side, the people who are complaining, it does though show you though when you do get the check and you align with certain brands, that you do become somewhat controlled, because that's how he's being received. Because he didn't really, you know, he does now. If you watch it, I haven't watched it the way I used to watch it when it first came out, but he has a rapport because he was someone that came up in the era, right? So that's what makes his podcast pop, because he has relationships with all of them, even from any standpoint. Like, even if he was like how he said with Nas, he's like, at one point I was Nas's official blunt roller. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He took that with pride, like, you know,
at
like,
the same time with him
dope.
saying that, you gotta understand there's certain people that you're not just gonna be able to ask any question you want.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to ask Hov about the shit with Solange if he come on the shit. You already know that. Be grateful that you got Hov on your platform and keep the shit moving. Nas has elevated to that level. The fact that I'm here, you should even be grateful for that. Don't ask me about XYZ. And I think you gotta take that. It's like
twofold though, because we're watching.
I think he's gone to that level.
No, he's at that level. I'm saying that is just twofold, meaning like you're still watching these platforms because it's about our culture. So if we can't learn what happened, we can't learn from Nas himself what happened when when he whatever when he did whatever, when he was backstage with such and such, and what happened that night in Queens with Hov or whatever. If we can't hear certain things, I'm not saying everything. I'm just saying I'm trying to explain that I see both sides where you want the guts of it because these are the guys that
I understand
run our culture. You know what I'm saying?
I think the people like Jay, Nas, even Diddy in a lot of ways, I think like those are the people that you're gonna get like those like Quincy Jones Netflix special type joints, like way later in life, and then you start learning like all the shit that happened to them like when they were much younger and the shit that they had to deal with to get to the platforms and the different businesses that they owned and all of that stuff. But I think like right now we almost have to be okay with getting like the surface level like shit that we maybe like you still getting gems in these moments, but like you're not gonna get you're not gonna get like the full story that you want to get. And the crazy part about that is I think Nori is one of the best storytellers like from that era, like as far as like just having stories of the industry and shit that's been going on. I think him, I think Fat Joe, I think X, I think like these dudes have like some really, really like crazy stories that of like stuff that was happening at a time when like hip hop was like obviously taking it from like, you know what I'm saying, like hip hop in the park to like we in stadiums like now, you know what I mean? Like, and those stories probably like span easily a good 20, 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
But if I buy sorry, go ahead.
No, do you think?
I was just gonna say I feel like there's somewhat of a market for that right now when you think about all these shows that are coming out like Tales and stuff like that that are trying to recount like stories from like the hip hop or rap era past, which I think like treads messy grounds.
It's funny that you bring up Tales. I mean, probably not in the same context, but like I feel old. Like watching that yesterday, I watched it yesterday. I watched it again actually yesterday. The interview. Yo, Nas, Noriega. I remember bumping Noriega like all his albums. I love Noriega, love his music. But then as they were talking, it made me think like hip hop, like hip hop has been around for a minute since I've been around, since I've been listening to it. But I didn't start listening to it attentively till like 99, 98. DMX was the first album I ever listened to as far as hip hop, like hardcore hip hop. Because my pops didn't let me listen to Onyx back in the day. So DMX, So when I heard DMX, I was like, oh.
So you be arguing with me about Nas and you
no.
Shit,
I was listening to Nas. You're not paying. I was listening to Nas, but the thing is, I was in middle school. I didn't start listening to Nas until like hardcore, until like high school.
Yeah, I was like in third grade, but when that shit dropped, I was like, yo, ma, we go the tape store. We gotta go to the tape store to get like some of that shit.
I grew up like I didn't grow up on hip hop. I grew up on like 50s and 60s music, so I wasn't allowed to really listen to hip hop. But until as I got older, I started to understand.
50s, bro. I think you meant 70s, 80s. I don't think 50s, bro.
But he's saying his pops was playing that.
My pops was playing that type of music.
50s
music, doo-wop.
Word,
70s, like, you know, so
50s, bro.
That's still dope that you were exposed to that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
I didn't think
our
50s.
era, we were always exposed to like 70s, 60s, 70s. But I think it's interesting. I never heard anyone say, not to like highlight it, but anyone say that their parents actually said you can listen to hip hop.
Nah, like my pops.
That's crazy to me.
Well, I had a friend who, and this was in the Caribbean, but I remember like the big thing was his father threw like his Tupac CD like out of the window. And like, do you know what it took to get a Tupac CD in Antigua? Like that was a big deal. I was like, oh shit! Like you saved up your allowance money for that shit, and he threw it outside the window. So it was and my mom used to threaten me with BET because my mom used to be like, oh yeah, but to know your freaking like homework the same way that you know the lyrics in them on these songs. And my mother used to threaten me with that shit all the time.
Now that you say that, I guess I did have friends that you know, my mom was like strict in other ways, I guess, but she wasn't really on it like that with that. Like you can't listen to it. You know
I
what mean?
guess when DMX, when he came out, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, like that was the first hip hop album that I digested, that I listened to front and back. Like back in the day, like I would sneak and listen to like Pete Rock and CL Smooth and
That's great. That's
all
interesting.
those shits, but like I didn't fully digest it because I was too busy trying to see if my pops is looking before he catch me.
Sneak
My
in.
mom's bought It Was Written CD for herself and tape for me like the day
That's
it
what's
came
up.
out. That ass, like
what's up.
we went to go get that shit together. Like she was breaking down, I gave you power to me. That ass, like she was like, yo,
Alright,
listen
what
to
do you
this
mean?
shit.
Moms.
That ass, I swear to God, my mom's told me, yo, like listen, I gave you power. Like this is what the shit, and that ass, like I took that and was like, oh shit, like this is what you're supposed to do with a song. Like this is how you're supposed to, you know, structure your shit and have a concept and all that. Like that ass.
Speaking of that, it made me think of so I shared because they brought up A Body in the Trunk, you know, the Nori and
yeah.
Nas. When you just said concept, I'm like, not that as in tuna as I am to hip hop today. I'm like, they still do like concept songs like that?
Niggas,
It seems like it's
attention
fading.
span is too short.
Concept songs.
Nah,
The attention span is
really?
too short. If you drop them, who's gonna listen to it? Like
Outside of
they'll drop
Griselda
it,
with
nobody
those,
like
some, who
Kendrick every
give
now
me
and then.
some-
Cole does it.
Lil Wayne did it
recently he did.
recently off his album.
But outside of
Released
him, I mean, like the new era, who's doing concept songs?
Corday, No Name, Tierra Whack.
Tierra Whack, what's the concept song she
That
did?
name keeps coming up.
I mean, like she got a song called Bug's Life. That's
she
like
does.
she has that. She has another song called Pet Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she talks about like her homies being like animals, like dogs.
That's
you know What
dope.
I'm saying? Which
That-
is like a really really dope concept.
Okay.
I think like there are people.
I
there are
like
people
Corday
doing
too,
it.
but I don't.
Yeah.
What's the concept song that he has?
Oh man, I mean, he got a bunch of concept records. Well, not.
I want that wave just to come back. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think the wave is coming back. I think the difference now is you just got a mind for it. Where it's like before it was like everybody
That's what I mean.
was doing it.
It seems like like how you said, you got to dig for it. So I'm not saying that I couldn't think of any popular concept songs of this era.
If you're talking about like popular in
See?
the sense of like people are like
Talking
off
about
with
it,
like
or
taking
taking
off with
off, or just even talking about it, like where it goes viral, where like, yo, you heard that? Because when Nas,
it. Joyner does that shit all the time too.
he does concept records,
He does.
but it's more like not concept. It's more like the video is the concept, but the record is like just the content. He gets more conceptual with the videos.
yeah,
Where you got the white
okay.
guy, you know, rapping, you know, all that, like that's dope. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like something like when Nas, you know, when he was a gun and all that, like,
Yeah.
that's a concept record. Even Body in the Trunk,
yeah.
like you got a Body in the Trunk, and they made a whole story around it.
Yeah.
Like, where those conceptual
Well,
records?
I don't
yo?
know if have y'all heard the Lambo Truck record by Kaz and Reason off the Dreamville shit.
I ain't
That's a
seen
concept.
Oh.
That's a
shit
concept.
Yeah, that was
record.
dope.
that record. That's
That's
a
a
fire
It's crazy.
record.
Wow.
The
Album's
first
popping,
three
by the
joints
way.
on that Dreamville is fire.
Album's
I
popping.
ain't
by
sit
the way.
down and listen to it.
I heard
Yeah,
it.
bullshit.
Nah, I joined
I heard
fire.
You almost
fire.
did what?
No, I said I heard it's popping.
Oh,
Nah,
okay.
it's-
I
it's-
said you
it's-
almost
Oh, no,
did
no, no, no.
something like.
No.
I mean, I think like I like a lot of the new wave of like hip hop, especially now, man. Like I think like the concept pieces that we're looking for. Like people were talking about how like even like concept albums are like the last official concept album was like Good Kid, Mad City, and there would probably not be another like good
That's the
concept album.
album that I love. Albums like that. The other album that I love outside of that album is American Gangster. I feel like it's a story.
Can you say that album one more time?
American Gangster. That's one of my favorite. You know why? Because I like the way that was.
I'm gonna give you a high five on that one because he gonna try to say some shit right now. At the time when American Gangster came out,
A lot of
I thought
people
it was
did.
the best album that had ever that Jay-Z had ever dropped. Like
No,
you know what I mean? Like
it's just
It's up there.
I've known this dude for a long time, and he's like a big Jay-Z fan.
Hov.
So
Stan.
when that movie, yeah, he's a stan. So when that movie came out, American Gangster, we were in college, and homeboy watched the trailer like 1,000,000 times.
I watched the trailer 3 times.
Okay.
But
3 million.
the shit was fire to me. Like
was.
just like the concept alone, it was so like
Yeah, it was a dope album.
it just overall it from like top to bottom, just like how he included every piece of like drug culture, and then how to move that from just being.
But that took. I want to do something like that, but that took the producers. I feel like.
Yeah, of course.
Right, you know what I'm saying? It's like such a what's the word? It's a thematic album where when you play it, it's like watching the movie, but you're like listening to the movie. No one does that anymore. Like Good Kid, Mad City, that same thing. Like as you're listening, you're like, yo, I can see this whole thing play out from track 1 to track 17.
The attention span is too short now. Like
To
you
Pimp a
only listen
Butterfly was
to
I
kinda
think
like
the
that, too.
creativity is just down. I think.
Pimp a Butterfly was like that too.
Okay, I didn't listen to that album.
Nah, I don't think To Pimp a Butterfly was like that.
it kind of was though.
I think To Pimp a Butterfly was really a lot more abstract. It was like watching like
The shit with him talking to Pac and it being all of
Nah, that's
many
a concept
conversations
record.
and
That's
then
an
for it to come
absolute.
to the end.
That's
and
an
then
absolute.
like,
That's
yeah.
an absolute.
Like shout out to my
yeah.
boy Rich. Like he put me on to that album. At first I was so resistant. You too.
He wasn't.
I wasn't.
fucking with Kendrick
I wasn't
at
fucking
all.
with Kendrick. Listening to that,
Really?
I wasn't
At all. Like I had to convince him. Like I was like
You
sending.
heard Section 80 before that?
I had to like when I
went back.
binge, I had to
went back.
binge.
Okay.
He had to double back.
I'm not gonna front though. He lost me a little bit.
Nah.
Now he lost me.
Now once
He's too abstract. I don't like. It doesn't seem.
I think the damn
I
album
love
was
it,
pretty
man.
like.
I love that album.
straightforward.
I didn't feel that album that much.
I wasn't feeling that album. I did
Damn
not like the
that.
lead single off of Damn.
What was the lead single? off
Sit
there?
down.
Be humble.
Be humble. That everyone
I don't
loved
think it
and
was
made
fire
it
like
a
that.
hit single.
wasn't
I'm
fire
like,
like
let me
that.
let me
It
ask you
wasn't.
guys this then. Like, so is there a place in today's hip hop for like veterans, like a Nas, and like
Of
is
course.
it aging well? I mean, I don't know.
hip hop is supposed to be. I always say this. It's hip hop is even though it's about the youth and the youth move it forward. Just music in general, it's not. There's no age on it. It's just about how in tune you are with it. So when people like joke about age and all that, it's because if you're not moving with it, you don't have to sound like today, but you have to sound fresh. Hip hop is supposed to be fresh, period. Fresh, new. What's popping? It's not the age. It's are you connected? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, are you putting out there what you're living? Like, what's going on? Like, the culture is moving. Like, even with New York, I just think with New York, we have lost our identity because we're not setting the trend anymore. Like, we're not putting out there what's really going on. We're chasing another sound as a whole. But the artists that are coming, like I made a statement about the Nas interview. The artists that are coming out like off the bench or like the guys that you don't know, that's who's really preserving like what New York sounds like.
Do y'all think there needs to be a New York sound?
Yes, not a New York sound, but every city has a sound.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, every city has a sound.
Because I say that because that's the sound that I grew like this great love for hip hop from. You know what I'm saying? So I miss that sound. However,
but not the sound of this is where it gets not the sound of 90s or that's not.
no,
just-
I don't think a 90s. I just say that because that's what it means.
Okay.
Is
I'm
most
saying like if
comparable
people
to.
think that New York sound is boom bap, it doesn't
No.
have to be that. It's
the
just
message.
I think, and I think that's where I'm like kind of I always get confused in that conversation because everybody's like, yo, New York lost its sound. New York lost its sound. I'm like, yo, the sound y'all are talking about is not coming back. Like that
but
90s
not
shit,
that. Jim Jones' album, you heard his album?
crazy.
That's
Crazy.
but that's what New York sounds
But
like.
that's because it's New York language. You know what I'm saying?
But
It's
that's
new,
also
you know what
because
I mean?
he's older, right? But he's in tune. It sounded
Yeah.
fresh. That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
what you're talking about. Not adopting
That's what I
another
mean. I mean,
region's.
Not
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
because real talk, Philadelphia, which has a lot of talent in Philadelphia, right? What showed me that they have, well, I knew that. I went to school out there, so the sound is distinctive, right? But what showed me that they're still like hungry, creative, and they have this dope Philly sound is when this girl named Rocky, have you heard of her? She's a new chick coming out of Philly. But she had a challenge like last month, and it went viral. The whole Philly, all ages, all men, women were rhyming on these beats, but it was so raw, and they all killed it, and that showed me like New York right now. I don't feel like could do that. If you watched all, it was like five. Let's just say like 400 people all rhyming, all sounding differently, but sounding like their city. You know what I'm saying? And killing the beat.
But I don't know if that doesn't. I don't know if it doesn't exist. I think that's just not the thing that's getting traction or attention from like the major players. So that's not what's being pushed.
I mean, like,
and that's real.
But we set the trend. That's what I'm trying to say. That's not major. We used to.
We don't.
But I don't think we acknowledge that we set the trend, or we used to set the trend, because now we're just taking trends from other regions. Right?
Now, but I'm saying we used to set the trend. This is why. That's what I'm trying to say. That sound in Philly, that's not on major. That was all. That was the street essentially. But when you listen to everyone, all of them killed the beat. They all sounded like Philly. Is my point. I'm saying that. I have it in my mind to do it. I'm just saying I don't know how to really do it, but I'm saying that if I went borough to borough and found the illest dudes, illest MCs, period, in every borough, I don't know that we could compete as a city against Philadelphia. That's what I'm saying.
I think that'll be. I don't know. I've met too many crazy ass like dope lyricists, especially in the city.
Of late though.
Of late.
Okay.
Of late in the city that I think I would, in my opinion, I would put up against pretty much any of these. I mean, Oswin being one of them. I think Oswin, fire.
Where's he from? Brooklyn. That's the other thing where I was going from borough to borough.
I'm not sure. I think Oswin's from Queens. There's this dude named Nell, who's super fucking dope. He's from the BX. Enzo, that's my nephew. He was here. He was here. I mean,
all the same family.
Yeah, I throw myself in that boat too. Yeah, you know what I mean, but like, it's just like
You're Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think it's just like, yo, man. I think people who are like chasing when people hear that, yo, New York has lost the sound, you start putting people into this mindset where they gotta chase a sound that used to exist. Whereas like the reality is you should be looking for something that's something new and something fresh. Like you said, I agree. That's why I agree with you saying that it should be fresh. But it's like people will get fucked up in the head thinking about some shit that like used to exist.
Because I feel like in its own way, and I sit quiet because this is not my scene. So like I will be the first to let y'all know. That's okay. So, but with that, like with all these kids that are like out here doing shit. Okay, so what is the kid who did the song the other day that was mad popular that had the dance to it? I felt like that was like another uprising of like another element of New York, right? Or like Brooklyn.
Dance to it?
Pick one. Don't they?
That we
the
talked
kids
about?
be doing. Wait,
the one that we talked about before, Pop Smoke.
No, the one before him though. And
Bobby
they put him in jail.
Bobby Shmurda. Okay.
Hey,
what's the name of the song that he did?
Hot
nigga.
Hot NIGGA.
Oh, you know that wasn't the one that I was thinking of. But
that's the name of the song.
He did another song. Oh, is that was that the name?
That's the
oh
name.
shit!
About a week ago.
You never knew that.
Yeah,
that's the song.
I know that was the name of the song. But
Terrible,
all of that, I felt like that, like all of that was its own sound. Look, your boy, you can find a different name for the song that I would want to say.
Well, my partner told you.
So, like,
The
somebody
nigga
can
them
call
hot.
them out. What?
Boys them hot.
The boys them hot.
Don't try and play me. Because I did not call these people the wrong name today.
Boys them hot.
His name is Bobby Shmurda.
Right.
Yo,
Bobby
got
can't
it,
drop a
Q.
bomb.
But I feel like in many ways, like it's like New York has its own, or there's newness to its sound.
That is a New York sound. I'm saying when I say sound, right, when people misconstrue, I'm saying that when you're an artist, if you want to make it, in my opinion, you have to have your own sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always look for. I look for it no matter where you're from. I want to hear 5 songs that sound like you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
I
real.
think
So
Cole
I'm saying
sound like New York.
Who?
Cole.
I mean,
Cole
but he
sound
spent
like New York.
he spent a lot of time here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ferg sound like New
his
York.
sound is not. When you say
Ferg does.
No, I think
Ferg
there's
is
some
very
things
New
about
York to me. I mean, Ferg still, Dipset still.
Where's Ferg
Cardi still is the number one, even though she switches up the flow, but it's still
No,
super
Cardi
New York.
sounds
When you
New York.
like she's from New York. There ain't no
Right.
disputing that. Like
Cardi
you say
has
what you
a
want
New York
about
sound.
Nicki, like whatever.
She's probably
You
the
say what
only
you want
one
about
who's
Nas,
really repping
like
hard.
it's just that I think we were so used to completely dominating that shit 95%, where every single artist was New York, and then like give you your little throwaway, California or whatever. It's like, nah, we gotta let other people get their time to shine. But like New York is still here. We still like
but see, you name mainstream. I'm saying that if you're gonna move something forward, the reason why we're not getting the sound stamp does not come from the guys that made it. The sound comes from the new guys. So the reason why Atlanta is popping, it's the new wave that dominates the sound.
Takashi
And
Lock,
you
but
know
who
what?
had it harder than
So,
him
and I felt like,
before he left?
but I get what you're saying.
The unknowns are the ones that dictate the sound of what's popping next. Like the future is what dominates the sound. Like, yes, you're right. There are you're very right. Mainstream artists like Cardi, we mentioned Jim Jones, whoever else, they do have a New York sound. And you're right. It is that it's not dominating the game.
Yeah, we gotta let everybody else shine.
Well, we lost the torch like 20 years ago, 15 years ago now.
I mean, but if it's
Right?
40 years old and
Because I
for
feel like-
25, we had this shit in choke
You're right.
for that
I feel
reason.
like
saying that we gotta
Lil
take the
Wayne took No
crown.
Ceilings to play the hell out of New York, or at least I remember feeling that way listening to like No Ceilings, because I felt like he used that album to like.
His whole
New
swag was New
His
York.
whole swag, and
He
Philly,
popped
and
because
Philly.
he took L swag. That whole shit was
his
Gilly,
rhyming-
was
Gilly,
Gilly, was
that's
Philadelphia,
Philly.
and then
Right.
he met up with Jewels and took that whole shit and then came out. That was New York.
That's New York.
Like, yeah, you from New Orleans, but them niggas wasn't wearing BAPE. Them niggas ain't know what that shit was. They ain't know what They ain't know what Bathing Ape was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
They ain't know what Suwu was in New Orleans. That shit was New York,
If you
bro.
ever been to New Orleans,
was Harlem
their
shit.
sense of fashion is
Yeah, that was that's not their shit. So like that, I don't know. I just think it's like and like for
I'm
real,
not saying that we have to
still wearing
dominate.
Black
I'm
people
saying that we don't
ourselves-
have an identity right now. We don't sound like anything.
But I think like black
That's a
people
good word.
ourselves, our
what
soul
I'm
comes
saying.
from down
Right.
south. So like the music returning back there is like it's kind of like that's where the essence is from. That's where we came first. That's where the roots are. So it's like yeah, we might have set up shop here, but like that's the motherland, so to speak, of where when we first got here. Like when we came, it was from there. So like that's where it kind of like I'm not mad, man.
The
I'm not mad
reality
at
is-
nobody.
People of color are creative as a people, right? So regardless of where folks are, they're going to find like glory in the struggle.
Right.
Like for lack of and find a nice way to like put that shit in music one way or another, where like no matter where they are. But there is a need, like I don't know, because the conversation started about like New York and New York's place in hip hop or whatever the case is. But I think it needs to move beyond that thing. Like I don't think it's about a New York thing anymore. I think it needs to move beyond New York and move beyond like in the very same way that LeBron disrupted basketball. I feel like
No, it has. When I'm saying I'm saying that we don't have an identity. So when I brought up the Philly challenge, I'm saying that
I got that.
they clearly are identifying with their city.
Mm-hmm.
We as a whole, individually, maybe like boroughs are making noise, but as a whole, I don't see an identity because the music that is coming out of New York does not really necessarily sound like New York. Meaning like it's a derivation of another sound, especially with the youth.
Call them out. Who
A lot of the
regurgitate
new,
people's
the new
shit? Call them
guys.
out.
No,
Call
the
them
new
out. Fuck
guys.
it.
They
Call them
no,
out.
but they say it. A lot of the new guys,
Nah,
they're
niggas
more
be doing it.
dominating from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
What's
Niggas
this
be
little
regurgitating
squad from
shit.
Brooklyn? Like,
Beast
and they
Coast?
could rap.
Beast Coast?
Is it? They like some.
There's a group that from Flatbush Zombies.
No, not Flatbush
them.
Zombies.
They're popping.
There's some youngins, but they all doing this like Chicago drill with a New York tinge,
Yeah.
but it's still not quite New York. Like even if Cardi does the same thing, it's still like you said, it still sounds. See, back in the day when we was running it, we could do a down south record, but it still would be in New York. We just took a down south flow.
Like what
we put
Cam
out
did with
we put our
Master
sauce
P.
on it. We don't have the sauce.
Do you feel like there's a scene here? Because I feel like a lot of people also contribute that to a scene. Like, you know what I mean? Like at a time when it's like, all the dope hip hop artists from New York are going to this spot and that spot and that spot, and that's where you go to see what that shit look like.
I think we all missing that.
We don't
Well,
have
I
that.
feel like,
what I'm
but I feel
trying
like
to
those things
provide.
exist in pockets, right? I feel like they exist in pockets, and
That's
I feel
true.
like it's not always going to exist in the realm of hip hop, right? Because sometimes, like, it's its own scene in the neo soul culture and things of that nature. So I
Facts.
feel like it has its pockets,
But
and I
I-
feel like Brooklyn oftentimes serves as the hub. With the development that is happening in the Bronx now, like whether or not you like it or not, I feel
Shout
like
out to the
there's
Bronx.
going to be an outpour or desire to peg the Bronx again as like the founding place of hip hop. So there's going to be people who's looking to like pour money in my opinion. If you
Yeah,
if
it
you
is.
speak about
bubble up.
development.
That's also what was dope about the Nas interview.
Yeah.
When they brought up, they paid homage to the Bronx, which I was
We
happy
knew what
about.
you said, McCray.
Right.
We weren't. I wasn't trying to Christina Columbus you. I apologize.
Christina Columbus.
Nah, I mean, it's just that wherever I've gone, wherever I've worked, I've always been surrounded by people who live in Brooklyn or
Me too.
outside. So it's like
The capital of the world.
whenever
Shout out
we
to Brooklyn.
watch your mouth. So whenever the
The
Bronx
planet of
gets
Brooklyn.
any type of acknowledgement, I run with that shit.
That's why I went so hard with the Nas interview. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, if Queens
I'm glad
Finest
you did.
can pay homage to the Bronx, then you peasants can do the same.
I think I was gonna go ham on your post, man, but I was
Because they
like,
annoy
nah,
me. Like, I'm
they
like,
annoy me too.
and that came from a place of being from the borough that gets the most slander. Y'all know the Bronx is
Yeah.
outside of
course.
Staten Island. At least Staten Island has Wu-Tang, right?
Who?
We have some right. Outside of Staten Island on some New York shit, the Bronx gets slandered.
Yo.
Of
Like,
course.
oh, you're dirty, all types of like
Nah, in some parts of the Bronx, that's crazy.
like Brownsville. Like
son.
Brownsville
Parts
is
of
not
Brooklyn
What
is
about
crazy.
Brownsville?
Nah, definitely.
What about East New York?
Definitely.
Like, stop.
But
like,
nah, there's some parts of the Bronx that's 89 still. You be like, yo, when am I? Like, son, what the fuck year is this, son? When the fuck did I get here, son?
we get the most
What you
slander,
mean?
yo.
That
So that's
ass,
why
bro.
I like that.
That
Also,
ass, son.
Nas dropped Jewels.
What?
Hey, I'm trying to like us get over that.
Bro, what are you talking about?
What do you mean
man?
by 89? Whatever.
Like it's out.
It's
like
89.
It's-
Like, it's,
Got
no,
it.
In a
it's,
year.
So
it's
he's trying
like
to say there's no parts
crackhead
of Brooklyn.
shit happening.
There's
Yeah.
no parts
No,
of Brooklyn
it's
like
not.
that.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Of
there is.
course.
Hell yeah, there is.
And
bro.
that's
Like,
more so
it's-
right here in Harlem is way worse. Right there,
Yeah.
it's Zombie Land, 125th and Lex.
Yeah, you
As
walk down
gentrified as it
125th,
is,
it's
there's a
crazy.
whole zombie territory right
But-
on 125th
But
Street.
watching the interview real quick, and I wanted to segue. Like, it made me realize there's levels to it. Like when
Right.
you mentioned like the whole Prince interaction. Like even if you're listening, and I'm a Nas fan, everybody knows that. Like I thought that was it. But then once he explained that level, I'm like, yeah, there's another level, right? So Prince
Yeah.
kind of like humbled him down, and I thought that was just so dope. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, you know.
They thought Prince was crazy for that when he changed his name to the symbol and all that. That shit was business. That shit was because Warner Brothers owned the rights to Prince albums. So he changed his name to a symbol. Like, yo, so now my album's under this, so I get all the money for that.
And I heard he still
And
made
then
80
Fun
million
facts
off that.
with
Yeah,
Carnegie.
yeah, that's
Which
what
is
all that shit
phenomenal.
was.
That was
Like,
his-
And I
Inspiring to me.
and
When
I
you
feel like
think
that was
he's
the time when he
crazy,
put out the
he's a
best
genius.
videos, even though that's the only thing that he used to really.
and that was just to get out of his album obligation because he had like 5 or 6 albums left
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
contract.
yeah.
So he was like, boom, I'm gonna just bust out 6 albums real quick, get out this contract, do my shit. Remember, he was writing Slave on his face. People was like, yo, what the fuck is he doing? He's wilding out.
That's
But genius, you know,
crazy.
thinking so ahead of this shit. And that's why when people would ask him, yo, you want to work together? He's like, yo, do you own your masters? Like, if it's going in our pockets on 1,000%, I'm down with you. If it's not, if it's going to them, then I can't fuck with you. Even now, it's
That's-
like,
And I think
I
that
love
was,
that.
and that's why I think it was so important and ill that Nas shared that story. You know what I'm saying? So it also made me think about this. And Delo, you can start us off. Like, so how has hip hop aged? Like, do you feel like it's aged well? And like, if you can name any artist, with the exception of Jay-Z, of course, because I know you're gonna mention Jay-Z, who has aged well in hip hop?
One thing though we have to mention Jay-Z
course.
for though is that he showed hip hop.
But he goes without saying. That's why I didn't mean
No,
no
but
disrespect.
because
Nah,
a
but
lot
that's
of people haven't followed except for one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say next, but
People
I just always give him his
LL.
props because he kind of showed that you could be of a certain age and still be dominating.
People be
and
forgetting
popping.
about LL though. Like he doesn't.
I was
like
getting
he,
ready to
okay,
say
I
that.
understand that he
but
wasn't
stopped
as
making music.
influential.
No,
but
he was, but he stopped
your
making
shirt
music.
Stop it.
well, I ain't even do nothing.
Stop it.
No, but
You knew that you were giving me a look. I
no
think
one
the
forgets
man
about
could
L.
still
He
be.
his last
No, but
10 years is acting, not rapping.
Yeah,
No, but
he
I
was
still-
still around for
You cannot
25
give me
years.
no,
any
but the
advice.
thing is,
You cannot give me any advice.
I feel
You
like
cannot.
Sorry.
you're done. You're friggin' done. And I Roswell.
No, it wasn't for you. That was pun for him. That was pun for this man
Pun
right
for
here.
him.
That was pun for him, not for you, sister. Yeah. You know,
So
no woman, no cry.
you're so ignorant. So, like, because people...
That was my That's my mistake.
That's my mistake. That's my mistake.
I know it'd be a straight effing lie.
The second one that was on purpose.
I think people are not paying attention to the fact that, like, in order to monetize the way that they do, people have to diversify, like, their income pool, right? People have different funding streams. So I don't respect the fact that he has stopped, like, contributing to the world of rap, but I also don't think he was as talented as an artist in that regard. Like, LL.
He's not. What?
L was the man.
Hear me out.
He was God MC for at a point. Like he's one of.
I'm not saying that he wasn't. Forgive me. He was not creative enough to understand how it, like, how to like allow how to evolve in that realm.
Yes, there's only a certain group of people that can say at any point they was God MC. Like it may be a list of like 20 people, but
he dominated. He dominated the shit out of it. Like he definitely dominated.
He was God MC for a point. Before Run was him.
But but even when you think about like running them, when you speak about aging, like I feel like it's important to look at all of these facets because I feel like black people had no choice. I feel like black people in hip hop had no choice but to try and jump into these. Which major black hip hop artists aside from Jay-Z do you know that did not jump on screen? Because Tupac was in front of the camera. Okay?
I mean, yo. L was God MC
Biggie
in
was in front of the
84.
freaking camera.
In 2004, he was still dropping albums. So that's dope.
I don't think people forget about him though.
No.
Wait, no. But I'm just saying in terms of aging because I say
aging.
because
He
I
aged,
do.
Yeah, he aged.
I
the
do
best.
because I don't accredit aging like in hip hop to LL at all, right? I wouldn't look at him that way at all, like, and that would be faulty. Yeah, essentially.
I think Ghostface is my guy for.
That's real.
When you ask who age.
Career-wise.
Yeah, I think
that you say that.
he's the one of the only Wu that. That's my point. I bring them up, right? That.
Did you watch the doc?
Consistently, I haven't yet.
And y'all know they're coming out with a movie.
I gotta get in the mood.
The doc was interesting.
I gotta get in the mood.
It's good, and I really want y'all to watch it before the movie comes out because and a long time I asked to watch them so we can talk about it, you know. Right. But like I feel like it'll be an interesting conversation.
The first word.
Yeah, I think Ghostface, he consistently put out music. He never sounded, in my opinion, outdated, which I think is important. That's the problem as you get older is because there's a disconnect. He still stayed him, but he still sounded fresh.
I
like he always sounds fresh.
Busta too.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I think about when I think about aging in hip hop, I think about people who I still look forward to hearing material from. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like. I still look forward to listening to like material from Nas, and not only do I like look forward to hearing material from Nas, but I look forward to moments when we can get something from him. Like that's not just
put
like
out enough in his peak.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's not just music. You know what I mean? Like so
interviews and shit, right?
Interviews and stuff like that, or even like articles, small articles. Like when I found out that he owned all this, like he owned a portion of all the Sweet Chicks, or like you know what I'm saying, like or. Like just learning about certain things that he's involved in aside from just the music shit. Cause it's like, yeah, the music shit is helpful for me and my creativity and that's cool. Yeah. But like, what am I learning from you that's going to help me get to where you are? Cause that's the shit that like brings the longevity that like, lets it last like longer and longer. It's like, all right, cool. You have to, and which is why you like you said don't say Jay, but you got to talk about him. Yeah. Like you can't speak about aging in hip hop and the ability.
Yeah,
without
I just meant it was the
but
obvious,
even
other than Jay.
And even though I don't want to give these people credit, hear me out. And not that I do not want to give them credit. And y'all like don't judge me for this, Stevie J. But when we speak about longevity,
still very talented.
I'd love to see.
But when we speak about longevity, right?
Yeah,
now don't get me wrong. I don't know what contribution he has to. Hey, boy.
Oh, that was the one I was looking for. The other one.
No, but like these people, like these are new ways. What's the Benzino?
I don't agree with that.
What do you mean? No. Hear me out. So we might not have liked the way that they monetized on the industry, right? We might not like the fact that Mona Scott is exploiting black people the way that she's doing it. However, there was no. It is all the same because I feel like you can't separate that. Benzino, when we're speaking about Benzino, we're speaking about a person who had an imprint on the voice of hip hop. whether or not you agreed with what he had to say or not. Like, and when you're speaking about aging, like he existed at the time when,
That's
like
true.
we're talking about,
He's
like
been around.
So when we're speaking about like relevance and like you can't discredit as much as like you might not. It might not feel good to give them credit, but you have to acknowledge what it is that they're doing.
Here's the reason why. I feel like nobody, and correct me if I'm wrong at this table, nobody prior to loving hip hop was like, yo, man, Stevie J, I miss that dude's sound.
Well, of
Like,
course not. But in the very
No,
same
that's
way
not
that,
true.
but in the
No,
very
that's
same way
not
that people
true.
didn't give
That's not
RZA the
true.
same respect,
Well,
in the
let me-
very same way that people probably would have never given RZA respect until they watched like the movie. Okay.
My point in that is that with loving hip hop, it doesn't give full like attention to the artistry of the people that.
Come on, McCray.
I know, but let me finish.
Part.
That's what I'm saying. It's the graveyard of, in my opinion, of hip hop artists because nobody was checking for half of the people that was on anymore, and they're using that platform to get relevant. So I don't really think that's
and so the
I
other
don't really think that's like
something else to
aging well.
consider is we don't know what contributions they have to the scene now, right? For all we know, he's a producer on music.
I haven't heard a Stevie J track.
That's real, McCray. But have you been
you
looking?
You just didn't know.
Exactly.
No, I'm talking about as of
because
now.
you didn't know when
I'm talking back
you
then,
didn't
yeah.
know when it was.
as of
Now,
No.
yeah, nobody.
You're
can
not
tell
listening
me.
to the Puerto Rican princess.
You ain't shit.
No, and if it is that I go and find out that this man contributed to some, like
Hold
contributed
up.
musically in the last 10 years,
I'm not
then I
listening
want
to
you guys.
Jocelyn. I'm not
You're
listening.
not
But even if it weren't, because when it was that he was
princess,
doing
bro.
shit for Faith and Biggie and shit, y'all didn't know that he was the one who was doing it. So don't be ignorant to that.
He's
Like
part of
to
the
that.
hit-
Well, I
right?
mean,
I know that.
what I'm saying, like, well, to Q's point, I think like also like someone like a Scott Storch, whose life itself like is such a huge lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like from like being like the Roots drummer to going from the Roots drummer to being like being like
Super producer.
not just super producer, but like he talked about in his documentary is like his overhead was like something like $100 million.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was his overhead. Like that's crazy to think of. You know what I'm saying? And then to go through all that, go through a whole addiction and come back from all of that. It's just like it is like the American story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think something like that is super dope. So aging well, man. Again, like it's always about, for me, it's always about, am I looking forward to hearing something from that person?
I mean,
Let me hold on. Let me get one. One of my favorite, me being an MC myself, strictly on the MC side of things, is Jada. Because if you
I was
really want to
thinking him too,
look
yeah.
at who was rhyming, Jada was amongst the top spitters from 96, 97 when Locks
Easily.
first came out
Easily.
till now. Consistently, the only people I think other that can say that is Hov and Nas. Those are the only people that have survived through all of those eras. Wu-Tang too. But those are the only people that have been around since then that if they drop something today would be bar for bar some of the best shit. Like Jada could air whoever out right now on the song and him, Kendrick, and Cole could be on a track and Jada could get both of them right now. Like it's not many people that can say that.
Do we
so
still-
throughout 3 decades?
Will we still give that same energy to like Fab?
But even
Yeah.
but
Even though
but Jada's like a generation and a half a generation even before Fab.
before
Like
Fab,
Fab
so.
is like 2000, 2001. Jada's like 96. Like like
Easily, yeah,
that
yeah.
bad boy. Like
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He's on the cover of No Way Out. Like that's that like
Right.
big Pac like from that
That's
era
true.
till now. Still like Jada's still in that in the conversation
Oh, yeah,
of the
definitely.
best rappers. So I don't think nobody else could. Maybe not the business side. He don't got the his albums are debatable. I think he got a couple classics, whatever. But maybe hasn't monetized his career the way he should have. But as far as bar for bar, I don't think nobody is up there with Jada.
I think, those guys, especially when they came out with that album together, Freddie and Jason, or Friday Night on Elm Street. I don't know, things like that. And also social media has also helped, keep these rappers, relevant.
Present.
Yeah.
Fab is there too, though.
Relevant is
Fab going
questionable.
on 20
Present
years.
is-
Yeah.
Fab going on 20
Fact.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because legit 99, 2000,
So
Fab was...
I don't want us to run out of time, but D, I know you're doing I know because Carnegie, he does his still do your Monday night mixtapes. What happened, man?
I
Yeah,
retired it
man.
for a little while just because, you know, you want to keep the audience wanting more. You never want to oversaturate your shit. You never want to be like, man, fuck this shit. I'm sick
So I
of
know y'all both do something like that. I know Delo, you
Oh,
do,
shit, word,
you
that's
do,
dope.
Mixtapes on Friday nights, right?
No,
I know it's not Friday nights.
no.
So what
You
made
should
you?
have like done your research before you sat down here.
I was
like,
being a jerk. I know it's not
Oh.
Friday nights. What made you start that? The Monday night.
Monday night freestyle shit.
Yeah, Monday night freestyle shit.
I mean, honestly, what it was I had started working on a project, and I was like really excited about getting it out and putting the material out, and then I started listening to it, and that's the shit about like being an artist and recording stuff and like re-listening to it like after the fact, because after a while you start listening to it months later, and it's like it's not shit don't have the same effect.
Oh yeah.
So I was like thinking about new ways that I wanted to release new material. I started listening to new music, and I was like, yo, you know what, man? I haven't released anything in a long time, so let me just like get something out there so like people can see, like, because people who do know me, they know me from me and my brother being together as a duo. So it's like they don't
Shout
know
out
me
to Carl.
aside from that. You know what I mean? So like I was like, all right, let me give them some material that I could like start, you know, getting people's impressions and stuff on. And I was like, all right, let me just do this freestyle thing every Monday. So every Monday night, I drop a Monday night freestyle. So it'd be either a cappella or over like an industry beat, something that I'm like feeling at the time. I also take requests too. So if people was like, yo, like, you know, listen, you should rap over this joint,
So would you rap over the SpongeBob beat?
There's a SpongeBob?
Yeah.
The actual, like, hey, kids, that shit you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
See, man.
Oh! It might be hard.
Everything a
if you're
joke,
talented,
right?
why not?
Everything a joke, everything funny. I hear you.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh,
Hey, oh man, look.
Where's our we need
He's in control of it. He's in control of it. I feel like we need a neutral party. Like to control it.
That's a fact.
We need a neutral party and control
That's
this
dope
shit.
though. I didn't know you was doing Mondays too. I did Mondays just cause like not growing up. Yeah, growing up like when Clue had the Monday night mixtape.
Oh,
like yo,
yo,
I used to be.
That's actually part of what
fiending for that
that was
shit.
part of where I got it from.
Yo, I'll be in school the whole day. Like yo, tonight I can't wait. I'll get a new
As in
tape.
DJ
I'll
Clue
be
himself?
yeah, DJ Clue had
He
Monday
used to
night
rap?
mixtape, and no, it
Nah,
was
he's just like-
it was every Monday night he would come with like new freestyles or whatever. It was Hot 97 at 10, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 10 p.m. on Monday
was
nights.
funny.
He had his show was Monday night mixtape. That's when the Fab freestyles would drop.
Yo, exactly.
Two
Yeah,
nines on me like
yeah,
one
yeah.
sat from the Bucks. Yo, I was like,
Yeah.
like oh shit,
Yeah.
yo, like so that shit was crazy.
It's so funny you say that, man, because that's how I got put on the Joe Budden. Like, and I thought, I kid you
from
not,
Monday night mixtape.
I kid you not, I thought Joe Budden was gonna be like
Triangle
I
offense. They
I
was
thought-
fire.
I thought Joe Budden, Fab, and Paul Kane. I thought that was gonna be like,
Triangle offense. They was fire,
outta here.
son.
Like,
Hell
you
yeah.
couldn't convince me that at the time when I was like, and I was like a heavy Joe Budden fan, like to the point where like I said, I thought Joe Budden was gonna be like the next J.
Yeah.
Like that's how heavy I was on Joe.
Joey's one.
What
of my
happened
favorites.
then? If
inspired
people
to
felt
bring
that
that
way,
back.
right? And
Yeah.
if people like talking about the way that they did, what happened to him?
They got different situations and then they
Yeah.
fell out.
I mean, niggas said Harold Miner was gonna be Jordan. Sometimes that instant you see some
Yeah.
potential, but so many things gotta go right for you to even get there. It's like
Yeah.
you see the potential, like you're very good. You
That's a
know,
good point.
if everything goes right, then it can happen like that. But we know life, everything don't go right. Everything's usually not gonna go right. So it's like a bunch of things. Like as good as Hove, as good as Nas, as good as these people are, without the behind the scenes business shit happening, they don't become who they are. So it's like it'd be hard.
I mean,
Like,
but the talent was there.
the
You know what
talent
I'm
was
saying?
there.
The
but
talent was absolutely
Joe had
there.
like, addiction issues. He had shit. So like it's other shit. If your business ain't right, if remember at the time, like he was bubbling up and Hove kinda,
the fact that
kinda
Hov-
pulled a little
but the-
plug on it.
But the
like,
fact that Hove would even acknowledge something like that, you know what I'm saying,
Exactly.
has to let you know what type of impact it was having. So it's like
Hov
I
kinda
thought
blocked him.
I thought that was so interesting to me, man. So like me doing the Monday night mixtape idea actually came off of that too. It was like just like being inspired to like, you know what, just like get into the creative bag and like start really like figuring out like how to build my confidence again on the level of like material that I wanted to put out. So
How long have you been rapping?
a long time, man. I feel like I've been taking it seriously, you know what I mean? And in that regard, like I want to say maybe like 10 years. but it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you look at it from that aspect, you know what I mean? Like I think so many people think about like, yo, this person just popped out of nowhere, or
Yeah.
you just like see people who are like, you know, doing shit, and you like, yo, you have no idea how long people been doing this shit. Like I literally I've been rapping since I was maybe like 14, 15.
It's funny because your nephew came through. Shout out to
He's a
Enzo. He
beast,
was like, "Yo,
he's
man,
such a beast, man.
Yeah, he was like how we had a family full of rappers. He didn't want to be like the next. Okay, you're gonna rap too.
Yeah,
So he was
yeah,
like, basketball was his shit. So
yeah.
it's dope that y'all still have that. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the crazy thing for him, like specifically, like I remember, like the same story that like I had with K Briggs, with my brother, man. Like he came up to me and was like, "Yo, I rap." I was like, "Yeah, cool." You know what I mean? And then like I was like, "All right, well, let me hear something." And then he spit, and he was like, it was 16 at the time, no, 17 maybe. And he was just like, he was nice. It wasn't like the best verse that I had ever heard, but I was like, I could hear something almost immediately. And then give it like 6 months, forget about it. He was out of it. I was like, oh, this kid's like coming up with concepts. He got ideas. He know the difference between, you know what I'm saying, like how to like what's the difference between just having good cadence versus like a verse that's like just heavy metaphors and all of that stuff. Like what, you know, he was just super, super dope. And he's like, he even inspires me now. Cause like the last joint that he just put out was crazy. It's to me, he should be out of here. He's one of those kids where it's like, yo, you put him in the middle of the anywhere, he's gonna show out. I mean, he's gonna sound like him every
right.
time.
He definitely came with the confidence. He had the shirt open and all that, looking like a 1990 R&B singer.
He had a little short sleeve.
Yeah.
Like Pepe, Uncle Pepe.
He was on his Brian McKnight shit.
Nah, but definitely. But before we get into the unpopular opinion of the week, like SeeMusicLive, that's your imprint. Like, tell us about that. Real quick.
SeeMusicLive is it's funny. So we were signed to a independent, and that relationship kind of went sour at the time. And we were like, yo, like anybody who we approach is not gonna take us seriously if we're not like underneath some sort of imprint. So we made SeeMusicLive as a label, as a place for us to like just release music under. And when we would speak to people, we'd be like, yo, we're signed to SeeMusicLive, da 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 da. We didn't tell them we were the ones that owned it.
Dope.
But it was like, yo, we just gonna fucking do this. And then as we continued to, you know, create, it was like, yo, man, what actually is what is a music label right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it a website? Is it, you know what I mean? You got a Facebook page? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to just be that, you know what I mean? Like, we wanted it, and we knew we always wanted to do something with film and like production and stuff like that. So we met two creative directors who are like incredible, my boy Matt and my boy Dorian. And then we were just like, yo, we just gonna take it from here. And then we just said, you know what, we're gonna service our community in that regard and start creating different types of you know, media series, whether it be music videos, short films, and we were just gonna go from there, you know what I mean, and including music. So SeeMusicLive, man, is the imprint that, in my opinion, I want it to be bigger than like a hype beast, or like a hype beast and Netflix merge. What would that look like, or what would that sound like? You know what I mean? That really services like the up and coming and emerging artists.
You said a hype beast?
Yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, well,
We'll explain.
yeah.
No, we'll explain to her.
What is a hype? Yeah. Like, well, yeah.
Well, hype.
Like,
well, hype beast is. I mean, it's like, it's a platform for like pretty much like servicing like companies that are like up and coming. Well, not up and coming necessarily, but it's like really like I say, like Supreme is like a huge hype beast culture platform where people go nuts over like all
That's
the shit
funny.
that they're doing, right?
It's funny that you call, okay.
So,
that's
like,
what
so you're
call
like
them.
you're like a hype beast. Like you beast like
And back in the day, they would call them like a disruptive.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But
See,
hype,
I'm still back in the day business principles.
yeah, and a hype beast is right, pretty much services all those cultures that are like booming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's like, but their platform is really, really huge, and the things and the like the media that they create, I think, is really, really, really dope.
That's
So
what's up.
yeah, I imagine SeeMusicLive to be that like times 20. You know.
dope.
Well, I appreciate it, brother, for you coming through. Before we go, I wanted to get into the unpopular opinion of the week. This comes from Ant0393. He says, forgiveness is overrated. Forgiveness is overrated. What do you guys think about that?
He got to elaborate on that. What you mean, bro? Ant 0903.
Ant sounds like he hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
ain't nothing wrong with that, Ant, but
It sound like you forgave somebody and she still cheating on you again. Yeah, it's all good.
you gave him a whole story.
It's all good. Fuck her, Ant.
and in his bag, he was feeling the weight out there.
I don't know. It made me think about like before like the whole cops thing. Like I used to have this great, respect and adoration for cops, and now it's like there's no. Can you forgive like when it comes to like cops? Would you forgive like cops?
No.
Like have that?
Wait, now, because of what? Like what has happened that changed it?
Things that have happened, things have transpired, like them shooting down.
Life though, shit.
Nah,
When?
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. No. They're all individuals, and I'm not judging nobody, but there was never a point where I was like, yeah, man, cops. Fuck y'all. That was always.
I have like I've had nothing but bad relationships with cops.
I mean,
in my entire life.
You're
like
a colored person in America.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
not,
it's never that's never gonna change.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I understand? Do I understand that? Yeah, I mean, but it also depends. I don't think forgiveness is overrated. I think he's just in his feelings.
Yeah.
I respect it though.
And I don't know how you correlated that to cops.
I thought about that because it made me think about a situation that happened. Actually, we went in LA, and when we got stopped by the cops, LAPD, at 7-Eleven, and it's interesting because
Driving?
No, we were in a car. We weren't driving. We weren't driving, no. But we were just chilling, eating because we were just
and they
leaving the club.
approached you?
Yeah, the funny
It
thing.
wasn't
It was out of like some South Central Boys in the Hood type movie.
What happened?
We could have died that day.
They pulled out?
Yeah. So what happened was, we were at this club or whatever, and then we went to the 7-Eleven to get food. We were three of us were leaving in the morning, so we went to go get food. It was crowded in the parking lot. Going to the parking lot, we're leaving the parking lot. I'm realizing that the parking lot is emptied out really fucking fast. So we're in the car eating, and the next thing you know, we hear the cops saying, "Get out the car." So,
but let's be clear. I want to just
give it context.
Give it a small bit of context. So, I mean, if you've been to LA, the clubs close at like 2 a.m. So you like it's like you know what I mean. So mostly what happens is everybody's like going to people's houses and that's like the spread and shit. So we go to 7-Eleven to pick up shit before we go to our crib to just like kicking and chill. I'm driving. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and we're just eating in the car, just like chilling, like eating in the car before we take off. Yeah. All of a sudden, like there's this beaming bright ass light on the car. I can't see shit. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe it's somebody trying to get out of the parking lot or whatever the case may be. They're just trying to like move out. But the shit was there for like too long. And then I'm sitting, I'm like, yo, who can't get out of this parking lot right now? And like, as all of this is happening, all I can hear muffled because the cars up, the windows are up, the music was blasting. All I hear is, get the fuck out of the car right now.
I'm just trying to enjoy some tacos.
Yo, so I roll the window
Chicken
down,
tenders.
and homeboy's like, "Get the fuck out of the car right now!"
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't even know like what. I have no idea what to do. I mean, I'd been in situations like this, but not like this, like intense. So he's like, "Stick your hands out of the car." I stick both my hands out of the car. I open the door, and he's like, "Driver, get out of the car." I get out of the car. As soon as I get out the car, when I get out and I turn around, there's 5 cop cars on the in the parking lot at this point. And they're all, and it was only 5 of us.
It was only 5 of us in the car.
Oh, you made it seem like it was one cop car that came up to you.
Oh nah, it was 5.
5 cop cars were out there. Everybody had guns.
They had guns drawn, and we had to get out one at a time.
One at a time. Everybody was told to get out of the car and get up against the gate.
And we had this one dude, shout out to my boy Junior, Charles. He was just like, I just want him to shut the fuck up. Like he was just
talking.
He just kept talking like, yo, dude,
What was
from
he
New
saying?
York.
Like getting at them? Or
He
just-
was just
yo,
nagging.
he's
He
like,
was
yo,
getting-
y'all,
yeah,
are
he
y'all
was doing
fucking
that.
serious, yo?
Yeah.
What's going on? He was like, yo, Junior, yo, shut up, man. Shut up.
LAPD, and we all 5 from New York. You don't know
probably
what the fuck.
So they
He was
pulled the guns
surprised.
on y'all. What happened?
So pretty much what happened was there was someone who was jumped, and they
At the club across
across the street, and they somebody said that they came to that 7-Eleven, so they thought it was us. So
Yeah.
from that point, they asked us, "Oh, what business do you have out here?
You got
They
any
asked about
tattoos?
Tattoo.
You
What does that
gang
tattoo
related?
mean?" They was
Gang
asking
related.
us. Yeah, they was asking what the tattoos mean. Your ID, social.
You gang related?
Social.
Yeah.
It was super
Yeah.
random.
Too much.
So it
Niggas
was
say social.
it was one of those things where it was just like, yo,
We're not even fucking
Fuck
from
the
here. What
police.
you like?
Yeah, and that was it too. They were like,
Yeah.
yo, they was like, you got. He's like, all of you guys are from New York. What are you
Yeah.
doing? What do you have business in
Exactly.
LA for?
Just trying to visit.
Yeah,
Listen,
bro.
I was
you
like,
know?
we here for because
Saw
my
the
guys
advertisement.
they're
And-
That
performing.
was a
and
good
it's-
place
and
to come.
And it's funny because we had done. This is when it was me and my brother.
Yeah, y'all got
performing
the
and shit.
the award.
We won like a hip hop award or some
Yeah.
shit like that, and we were out there for that. And they came with us, and I had a bunch of business cards
Yeah.
like in my wallet, like just a bunch of shit that you know what I'm saying. You know, you go to spots and you get a shit ton of business cards.
Yeah.
They were like, yo, take your wallet out of like take out your ID. I was like, look, you can go in my pocket. It's in my
taking out
back
shit.
pocket. I ain't going nowhere.
Fuck that.
Homeboy took. He's like, all right, cool. He took out my wallet. Literally
Yeah.
tosses everything on the floor. ID,
Disrespectful.
bank
That
card, all of that shit. Everything just sprawled out on the floor. And I'm just like, all right, this is just the disrespect that we gonna encounter. I'm like, it kind of is what it is. But like at this point, when I tell you like cops are like behind us with guns like drawn
So
on
you
our
may as well
backs,
just do whatever.
Yeah, we
like it was kind of like.
So they finally just realized that they had the wrong guys and let y'all go.
After like
After-
15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, it was like, take your IDs, get the fuck out of here.
No
They didn't say-
apologies or nothing.
Absolutely not.
Nah.
See, stuff like that though is where I know you guys wouldn't have done it, but I'm saying that's where complaints have to be filed and shit like that. I know you guys can't. You know, what I'm saying in
I
retrospect.
feel
We
you.
didn't even. We
No,
weren't
I'm not
even
saying
thinking.
Yeah,
right. Of course
you
not.
know?
I'm saying in retrospect. You know what I mean? I had to learn that myself when I've seen people. I've been in situations where cops even arrested people for no reason, but you're like too intimidated to like file a complaint, and because then you find
Yeah.
out too that that precinct is known to do stupid shit like this, and then you also find out that they can do things like start harassing you for no reason, like following you everywhere, like even
Which
like
they did.
the smallest
Which
cases.
they did. They
right.
followed us. They followed us back to this place that we were staying.
Yeah.
Right. And that can, like, if you guys had lived there, that can continue if you decide to file a complaint. Oh, you want to file a complaint? Oh, okay. We're going to taunt you. You know what I mean? Like, so I see why we don't, but those things have to be documented because that's the only way, that's our only recourse, really.
And the funny thing is, I know we got a jet, but like during that time, my thought process was like, I just hope we get the fuck out of this situation as quick as possible. Like Junior, him talking and shit like
Yeah,
that
he
wasn't
was
helping.
just-
I'm thinking we gonna
He
get
was
forth.
nervous.
But it was just
Yeah,
like
he
I
was
was
upset. He
nervous
was-
as
he was-
well, but more or less like,
Everyone
yo,
handles it differently.
exactly. But it's just like, dude, your actions will pretty much could
Cause us
affect
to get
all of
shot.
us. So I was just like, yo, dude, just stop talking.
Yeah, for a trigger happy guy.
Yeah.
Cause like Junior just
Isn't that crazy that
any
that's what
quick
we have to
move.
live with, though?
Yeah.
Like, stop talking. Don't feel what the fuck you feeling.
Yeah.
Don't be anxious.
So-
Don't feel nervous that these people about to try and kill you.
Shout out to Ant0393 for
Yep,
for
Ant.
that for
That is
sharing.
definitely a super unpopular
but I think
opinion
you
that we
should
do
Definitely.
not
try
agree
to
with.
forgive. I'm not certain who it is that you ain't trying to forgive, but
Fuck that bitch, Ant.
forgiveness is the start of change, darling.
Yo, so Unpopular Opinions, episode 41, episode Glenn Rice, episode Eldon Campbell, episode. That's all I got for now.
Philip
we out.
Lindsay. Philip Lindsay. Woo!
Okay, James Posey.
Yeah.
All right, got you.
Nah, that was 34.
Nah, he was 41. Anyway, shout out to Delo. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Salute.
All right,
Yo, this is an amazing platform, yo.
appreciate you,
Legit.
brother. SeeMusicLive, RAINE. Next time we playing the game, get a jump shot off. All right.
I'm going to try. Next time I'm going to shoot from half court.
We out.
Peace.